So let me stray, please guide my way onto the path of my deen. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah, I'm calling your name. Oh Allah.
Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to your favorite program, Let's Talk, of course, on your favorite channel, Huda TV. Maybe I'm biased because I work here, but I do believe Huda TV is a pioneer in the premier English language Islamic channel. So please continue to support us on Facebook, YouTube, and all that social media stuff, bi'idhnillah. You guys, we have a very, very special episode. I'm very excited about it. It's titled MIA. It's not Miami. It's not missing in action because we're not in a war. Okay, but we're talking about being what? It's an acronym. That means it stands for MIA. That's Muslim in America. And I'm joined by my two good friends here. And it's going to be an interesting topic, so don't go anywhere. The first brother sitting to my right is here with us all the way from the United States of America. He's a revert to Islam, and you have seen him on the Huda TV screen before. Most recently, I believe, on Book Review, The Music Made Me Did It. Of course, I'm talking about Mustafa Moore. Assalamu alaikum, brother.
Wa alaikum assalam to barakatuh.
Hey, man, thank you for joining us on this episode. I certainly
Alhamdulillah.
appreciate it. And of course, right over here, we have an Arabic teacher from Florida State University, a good friend of mine as well. I certainly appreciate your time, brother. And you know, I'm really looking forward to this episode with you to take your perspective, Brother Mahmoud Said.
Thank you.
So, thank you for being with us, and I certainly appreciate it. And we have the studio audience, you guys. I certainly appreciate your time as well. And let's kick this one off right. Let's kick this episode off with a nice nasheed from Brother Ahmed Ali.
No,
Oh, Ahmed Wahi. We have two Ahmeds. I'm sorry, I got it mixed up. Okay, Ahmed Wahi, go ahead, brother.
What you're gonna hear now is an Islamic nasheed. Its name, Islam is not terrorism. It talks about the beauty of Islam. Islam is not terrorism, it is full of peace, its mercy includes the humans and even the trees. Whatever your religion is or your belief, Islam for me and you, it will give you help and relief. Help and relief. Do you remember the day of Mecca opening? And oh, what happened there of peace when Muhammad has released the kuffar, so he could bring them on their knees. Islam is not terrorism, it is full of peace, its mercy includes the humans and even the trees. Whatever your religion is or your belief, Islam for me and you, it will give you help and relief. Help and relief. Our Islamic religion orders not to hurt our neighbors, and whether they are Muslims or not, treat them well and do for them good favors. Islam is not terrorism, it is full of peace, its mercy includes the humans and even the trees. Whatever your religion is or your belief, Islam for me and you, it will give you help and relief. Help and relief. Thank you.
Very barakallahu feek. Thank you, brother.
Jazakallah
I certainly
khairan.
appreciate it, man. It's very nice. Thank you for sharing that, brother.
That's
And now,
amazing.
if Ahmed, do you want to go next?
no.
Okay, no problem, inshallah.
Sing.
How about you, brother Mustafa? You want
No,
to do the
no, I stopped singing years ago.
What about you, brother?
Oh, thank you.
Really, thank you, brother, for your time. I certainly appreciate it. It was a beautiful nasheed. We certainly do appreciate it.
It's amazing, actually.
You know, brothers, I wanted to, in this episode, I think it's very nice because we have three different perspectives about being Muslim in America. I was born to Greek parents as a non-Muslim, okay, and I accepted Islam. So although I was born in America, my parents were immigrants, so I have this kind of both perspective. You, brother, you were born obviously in America. I mean, not obviously, the viewers don't know you, but you were born in America. No, I know you.
Yeah.
You were born in America to non-Muslim parents and accepted Islam, so you really have the complete American perspective, okay?
Yeah.
And you, brother, as well, you are here from the Middle East, but mashallah, you speak native English. You're an educated brother. You went there to teach Arabic at a university, Florida State University. So I think you have a nice insight too with the Middle East culture and a good knowledge of the American culture and living amongst the people there. And so I think it would be a nice perspective, inshallah. So perhaps we can start by saying, brother, Muslim in America. I mean, after you accepted Islam, would you say that your life changed obviously changed in a positive way, you became Muslim, but did the way you were perceived by your society, your friends, your co-workers, your family even, the people, your neighbors, did it change in a positive or a negative way, or was it like a mixture of both?
Well, when I first accepted Islam, it was something fairly personal because I wasn't given any dawah or anything. Someone let me use the Quran, so I read it. I mean, I didn't read it all, but I read from it for about like 2 or 3 days, and then I had to return it. But before this, I was reading the Bible, so I was seeing names that I was familiar with: Moses, Isa, of course, alayhi salatu wasalam. And they had the Prophet Muhammad, and I had heard something about him, but not, I didn't know very much about him.
Right.
But after I returned the book, I was curious about Islam,
Right,
So I went to the library and I asked, could I see the Quran? And we're in America,
Right.
So where I'm from, I had never seen a Muslim in my life,
Right.
and I had never heard about Islam. So when I went and I asked about the Quran, they had a Quran behind glass.
No, really?
Yeah, behind glass.
What was the name of the town that this was in the state?
Wilmington, North Carolina.
Okay, so you had at that time obviously you had no beard. You were
No,
a regular guy.
I had a beard, but
okay.
it wasn't
A sunnah beard, yeah. Okay.
it was just
So what was the response you got from the woman working at the library when you should kind of see the Quran? Oops.
Well, I mean, they were like, they said, well, you can't take it home, but you can read it. So I'm like, I know these guys, man. So I wouldn't touch that book.
Right. That's what your attitude was.
Yeah, if like dealing with those guys, man, like they have like things that can ring the alarm, so to speak.
Yes.
If I touched that book, my name probably would have went on some secret list or something.
Right.
I was like, no, thanks.
Okay, excellent point.
Yeah, so I asked them, did they have any other books? And someone said, look in the children's section, and they had like a wealth of books in the children's section.
For Islamic books?
Yeah,
That's
like
really
different religious books.
Oh, right.
Why? Why would you put them in because adults wouldn't really look for them there. They were kind of like hidden.
Right. Okay.
Like to have something hidden in public.
Yeah. Okay.
But anyway, I got this book about the Prophet alayhi salam, and I began to read it, and in the book they had the Shahada. I believed in the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam. I believed in Allah azza wa jal, and when I saw the Shahada, I took it.
MashaAllah.
Yeah.
This was in your home when you checked the book out? And
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
This was in my home. My name probably still went on the list, though.
MashaAllah, thank you, brother. Okay.
Yeah.
And then we go to Brother Mahmoud as well. You were born and raised in a Muslim country, mashallah. It's a great blessing from Allah. You were born Muslim, another great blessing from Allah. So when you went to teach Arabic at the university at Florida State, were you a little bit apprehensive about how you would be treated? Did you have this thing in your mind like, oh, the Americans are going to treat me bad or they're going to treat me good?
Actually, we had some orientations from the institution I received the grant from, and they were always giving us orientations on how we might be received as Arabs or as Muslims, and we had like someone from the alumni the last year.
From Florida State?
No, she's Egyptian here, and she has been to America.
Oh, okay.
And she was telling the story of how she was perceived in there.
Oh, okay.
She said that one day she was walking over the street and a woman came and just hit her in the shoulders.
This is in Florida?
No, I'm not sure about the state.
Okay.
And then the woman kept going, and then she turned back and did the same action again. And what my colleague said that she had to remain inert and take no action, because at this time she was wearing hijab, And if she reacts in any bad way, she would be representing the whole Arabs, the whole Egyptians, the whole Muslims. And she had to receive the attack and to just be patient for it.
Yeah, subhanAllah.
So we had these examples and orientations, and I was actually scared. But the idea that I'm safe, I'm not wearing hijab, so
Yeah, right,
I'm kind
right.
of hidden. But at so many points, I was showing that I am a Muslim on purpose, just to let others know what Muslims are and how they are behaving.
Right.
And if you hear anything that is bad, I'm not. And I'm a live example for you,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, great. That's great. It's like a walking dawah.
Yes.
You know, in
Because
America, yeah,
most
go
of the people who hear bad things about Islam and Muslims, they just hear.
Right.
They don't see, you know? But if you show them, that's, I think, has a stronger effect.
Yeah, and then
on
they
them.
have no excuse if they still have hatred towards Muslims.
Yes,
They don't have an excuse.
it's a stronger effect on
Yeah.
them if you show them
Right.
how you behave.
And interestingly enough, you know, the women with the hijab, this is the biggest target. They have the biggest pressure in America because many times I walk down the street, people don't even know if I'm Muslim. They ask me if I ride Harleys because of this beard. They don't, it doesn't register.
Yeah.
So, you know, I walk down the street even with this beard, and maybe my life is, I have less problems, I guess, because people don't identify me as Muslim.
You know, I heard about a survey in America. This Muslim guy, you know, but he didn't look Muslim, you know.
Right, right.
But he asked 100 people. He asked them 2 questions. The first question was, "How do you feel about Muslims?" And the second question was,
How do you feel about me? Maybe, right?
Or what was the second
was it you?
No. What was the second question?
Oh, the second question was, have you ever met a Muslim?
MashaAllah, that's great. That's good.
You know, 2 questions, you know. And they didn't know that he was Muslim. You know, he didn't look like a Muslim, you know.
Yeah, right.
So, like 75% of the people say they didn't like Muslims. 75, and like 85% of the people had never met a Muslim.
You know, I feel bad about
Yes.
that because
That's crazy, huh?
Yeah, I
It's again
know.
the idea
That
of
sounds really
hearing,
crazy.
not seeing.
I feel bad because the American people, I know many nice Americans and wholesome communities, but it's just like they've been so brainwashed through the media that 75% don't like them and 85% didn't even know them.
Haven't even seen a Muslim.
Yeah, yeah.
And like I told you, you know, before Islam, I had never seen a Muslim, never.
Yeah.
Or at least if I saw one, I didn't know that they were Muslim, you know.
Right, it didn't register. Yeah.
Yeah,
Great point.
Yeah.
Let's go to the studio audience, brothers. And I know you guys are here from the Middle East, but what do you, when you think about the United States, do you think if you go there, you will be treated fairly because you will be treated fairly even though you are Muslim, or do you think you will experience some kind of oppression?
Yeah, I think I'll go with the second one, some kind of oppression, even if it's not, you know, among the people fear what they don't know. So
Yes.
if you meet someone, like you said, 80%, 81 didn't meet Muslim. So when he see someone who looked different from him,
Right.
before even know he's a Muslim, so he takes some offensive action against
Right,
him.
right. Yeah, that's a good point. What about you, Ahmed? If you, I mean, how would you expect to be if you went to the United States now?
I agree with him. I think after the September 11, I think the image of Muslims there is not good at all.
Right. But even before September 11th, you know, remember the Oklahoma bombing, the Oklahoma City bombing? After it happened,
Was that Muslim related?
no, it was Timothy McVeigh. He was a
Yes.
white Anglo-Saxon Protestant, right? But right when it happened, they immediately began looking for not just a Muslim man, but an Arab man. So the
Yeah.
Arabs have, among the Muslims, like the Arabs have like even more pressure on them, you know.
Wow.
I mean, maybe I think this is true because then when they found out who it was, they didn't talk about
Of
terrorism.
course not.
Or in Sweden, when he was a white man who killed those 70 people in Sweden or Norway with an assault rifle, and they at first said it was terrorism. Then when it wasn't a Muslim, they said it's just an act of violence. But brother, now you know your experience in America as African American. You're already kind of used to this, I suppose, like going into certain areas and or looking for work or going to school and not feeling maybe all the time that you're being given your full rights.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, how does that change now as a Muslim? Does it even become more compounded, or
No, it's like a double whammy.
yeah, right now it's even worse than before, so to speak.
Yeah. I mean, but now, with Obama being the president, they act like they more acceptive.
Yeah,
of the
that made me
blacks.
laugh actually.
Yeah,
When
yeah.
the people kept saying, or everything's like
fine
hunky-dory now because he's president, but it's like there's a lot of things that have not been resolved.
Yeah.
But now your colleagues, for example, at Florida State University, by your non-Muslim colleagues, did you have a friendly relationship with them? Were they respectful to you and your religious beliefs and practices, or not?
Actually, that's what I was showing, and that's why I like teaching Arabic, because I was teaching the culture along with the language. Too many people didn't believe or didn't even imagine that we had non-Muslims in the Middle East.
Yeah, it's
or
amazing.
non-Muslims who are basically were born Arab.
Yes.
You know, I was telling them, no, we have churches in Egypt, and all over the Arab world, you know.
Of course.
We have non-Muslims, we have everything.
Of course.
And the idea of covering, I had so many questions about idea of covering. I told them, it's it's culture. Even if they are non-Muslim, you'll find the women relatively covered than Americans.
Yeah, right. That's a good point. Yeah.
Okay. I told them you can never find in Egypt or any of the cities of Egypt like women in shorts in the street.
If you do, it's like a big red light. It's like this person's out of place.
Yes.
I've seen it maybe 2 or 3 times in Egypt. A woman was wearing shorts, and it was like,
and
you know, what is this? You know,
and I'm sure they were tourists.
yeah, sure.
Okay, so that's the idea. It's the idea of covering again goes back to the idea of culture more than religion. Even those who are not Muslims, they are still covered.
Or we could say that Christians now, mashallah, they have acquired some Islamic characteristics.
Yeah.
Yeah, mashallah. But by living amongst Muslims, they take in the good qualities of Islam. All the qualities of Islam are good. But I mean, they take in Islamic qualities, mashallah.
That fit to their religion or to their culture or something.
Okay.
That's one point. Another point is sometimes I feel I was put under pressure to they were kind of observing my reaction. I don't know.
Right.
I had an office mate. She's non-Muslim. Okay.
They put you with a woman?
She is.
But you know what, brother? I want you to continue the story. I'm starting after the break. We're gonna take a short break, okay?
Yes, sure.
And after the short break, Ahmed Ali's gonna sing an Nasheed. You guys, stay tuned for more. Let's talk.
How perfect my Allah is, and I praise. Subhanallahi wa bihamdihi, subhanallah. How perfect you are, Allah. Subhanahu wa ta'ala.
I really like the example he gives in that clip about the guy stuck in traffic. You know, he thinks that it takes it personal, which you know brings us to the point that a pessimist is very subjective when it comes to negative things that happens in his life.
But for example, if you are talking to me about doing something good in life and you are on the bed of death, that you want to do something for your ummah. This is why we did this program, to make you get your achievable goals before you reach the moment that you will not be able to achieve anything.
SubhanAllah, if I may add.
If I have a positive attitude, and if I have courage, why it doesn't appear in all the problems that I face? Why it doesn't appear in all what I do in my life? Actually, because you are not responsible enough to control your mindset.
I was reading a study on New York government. They wanted to improve the crime rate. They wanted to lower the crime rate, ultimately. And they found that in the subways, there was a lot of graffiti, a lot of trash. And just by doing a little thing, like removing the trash and removing the graffiti and making a more clean environment, the crime rate actually lowered. So this shows the power that how little things can really make a big difference.
Subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Welcome back to Let's Talk. We're talking about being MIA. That's not missing in action. That is Muslim in America. Brother, you were talking about an interesting story during your time at Florida State. So please, brother, continue.
I had an office mate. She was non-Muslim, and one day I posted something on my Facebook about hijab, and then she started replying in an aggressive way.
She was an Arabic teacher?
Yes.
Okay.
And she started replying to my post in an aggressive way, like, you do not respect me at all, and all of this, and I am free to do whatever I want. And I was posting this to my wall, like, it's not your business.
This is where we're going to do the episode of Fitna Book, inshallah. I talk about this.
Yes. And actually, what I had to do is to apologize to her and to her husband, and her husband was involved within the action again, and being aggressive against me. And I had to apologize for both of them, and I had to assure that I didn't mean this.
Yeah.
I didn't post anything to your wall or something. I did it on my own account. If I weren't anywhere else, I would react in a more like logical or practical
Maybe
way.
a bit more firm.
Yes, or more strict or aggressive way.
Right.
But there I had in mind that I'm representing
Islam.
Muslims and Arabs. You know, she was Arab too, but I mean representing Muslims. I had to apologize to her. I'm sure I didn't do anything to her. So that was one of the pressure I had.
Yeah, of course. So that's a great story, though. So because, like you said, this is dawah.
She was always sensitive about things like if I leave something on the office, like you cannot do this here. It's a working environment and all of these,
Like
and
what?
I was apologizing and everything. But then I started forwarding the emails to the supervisor.
You did right,
Like
brother.
this was too much.
Yeah, mashallah, you did the right thing. Thank you for sharing that story. Brother, you had an interesting story which you told me in the break regarding prayer times at work. Can you share it with us and the viewers in the studio audience?
Yeah. I was working as an instrumentation tech in Durham, North Carolina, and my boss, you know, he was a redneck, right?
Yeah.
But he was a redneck, but he was as dark as me.
Oh, he had this mentality.
Yes, he had.
That's difficult to work for.
I tell you, it was so. He was so much of a redneck, you know. But I mean, he was a decent guy, you know.
Yeah.
But I remember when I first talked to him on the phone about the job, I was like, whoa, you know, I'm finna meet you.
Yeah.
I said, this guy, what?
That's so funny. You were surprised when you saw him.
Yeah, you know.
So okay, but you took the job and then you began working for him.
Yeah, you know, and you know, I was Muslim when I took the job, you know, but you know, it was out of college, so you know, they were pretty open.
Right.
But whenever I asked to take a break, you know, I didn't smoke, you know. This guy, he would take his smoke breaks, you know, take five a day, you know.
Yeah.
And you know, I just wanted to pray, you know.
Right.
I told him about the prayers. I told him what it was, you know. He didn't want to
allow you to pray.
Yeah, he was like, you know, if you want to pray, you have to get off the clock.
That's funny.
I had to get off, and he was not playing.
You really did that.
I had to get off the clock if I wanted to pray. So.
But he was smoking on the clock.
He was smoking on the clock.
Hey, go figure. You know what I mean? But you know, brother. So in the end, how did your relationship evolve with him? Did he respect Islam and Muslims after working for him, or no?
No, I don't think he respected Islam. You know, he was like from the country, man. He was just like,
yeah, right.
But that was just it. But I mean, I think he respected me as a person, though.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good start, inshallah. Yeah. Because you can't. Sometimes people, like you said, they come from certain background. It's hard to expect them to change quickly. Go ahead, brother.
But I agree with you, like taking the breaks of the clock, because sometimes if they see how careful he is, to pray,
they will respect him.
They
also.
just respect you more and just get think again about this.
Yeah.
Like you're stopping the money.
Yes.
Okay, I don't care, fine. Then I'll still pray.
I mean,
there was a story about a girl in France when they were banning the hijab, and the principal of the school asked her to remove it, and she said, you can never see my hair, and he said, no, I will. And once the hijab ban was out, she shaved off all of her the hair.
No,
yes. And she went to the school like fully bald.
No way.
And she said to the principal, I told you I will never let you see my hair. And that was the action again to allow her to enter the school with the hijab on. Because he saw how strict she was and how sure she was of her decision.
And who can forget the image of the French police at the school telling Muslim women don't come into school if you don't take off your hijab. And this is supposed to be the country of the Western values, I mean democratic values. This is a joke. This is very bad. Different story though. Brother Ahmed Ali, how you doing over there, brother? I'll put the mic. Okay, brother. So, brother, have you traveled overseas?
No.
But do you have apprehension about traveling because, like you said, after 9/11, do you feel like, wherever, what about Europe or other countries, do you feel a bit shy to go? Are you scared to say, my name is Ahmed, if you were to travel overseas, would you feel, fearful?
No, not at all. I am a Muslim, and it's a proud for me, first. If I have a good chance in the United States or whatever, I will go.
Right.
But
without compromising your values.
Yeah.
At
all.
Yeah, thank you, brother. Excellent point. I don't want to talk too much, but I want to share with you guys a story about when I was at work in the States. I worked as a secretary in the Social Services Department. Okay. And I accepted Islam at this time, and I had a lot of friends that were good to me. I had a lot of people I worked with that were really, really rude to me. In fact, they would say, hey, Muhammad, or hey, Osama bin Laden. In fact, I cried a couple times at work because the people would insult me loudly in front of people. He'd call me Osama bin Laden. It really hurt my feelings. So I collected all this documentation. I went to the union, and she was like a hippie lady, and she was really nice. And she said, I told her what happened. She said, well, can you talk to them and give them something, talk to them about Islam? And, really naive. So I said, I don't know what to do. So I contacted CARE, but guess what?
They didn't care.
But I do that for everything because I did have some good experiences. One time, I had to stack a bunch of boxes, a bunch of files. People come apply for social services aid. We put a file, we put it in the box, and we have thousands of boxes, okay? This was my job. So one day, it was, I missed the day of Ramadan for a valid reason. So after Ramadan came, I was fasting, and one of the bosses came to me and said, can you stack these boxes? There's like 10 boxes. I said, it was first thing in the morning. So I said to him, okay, can I stack like half the boxes now because it's 7 o'clock? And half them tomorrow because today I'm fasting for the month of Ramadan, and I'll be very tired if I wear myself out first thing in the morning, and I have to wait till like 7 o'clock for Maghrib. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yes.
Wallahi, he was very impressed. He was very shocked. He couldn't imagine that. He said, not a problem at all. You can do it all tomorrow if you want. You know, so that's one good thing about being in the States.
That was nice.
Yeah, I mean, you have a good opportunity.
Yeah.
What about you? Have you had positive experiences like that?
Well, not with my boss, but from some of the other students. It was like a work study. So I was able to work with my classmates. They had a lot of questions about Islam. Of course, I had never at the time I had never been to any Muslim countries or the only Muslims that I knew were Americans.
Yeah, right.
But we were all serious about Islam, and we all loved Islam, and wanted to move forward in our deen.
Yeah, great.
So I mean, alhamdulillah, the questions that they were asking, I remember one guy, he was amazed because we say sallallahu alaihi wasallam after we say Muhammad alayhi salatu wasallam.
Right.
So he was like, he was making a joke. He said, so every time I say your prophet, you have to say sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So he was like,
he was impressed by that.
Yeah. So my name is Patrick. So it was like, Pat's prophet. I said, sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
Oh, so he was impressed by that, and it was a positive thing.
Yeah.
Right on, that's cool.
Yeah. So I mean, they were asking a lot of questions and stuff like that. So I mean, I did the best that I could do, to try to, encourage them because, unfortunately, where I'm from, they didn't have a chance to get much dawah.
Right.
So. The people they don't see a lot of Muslims, and they don't hear anything about Islam.
Right.
There's nothing on television. There's nothing on the radio.
Nothing positive anymore.
Nothing. Yeah. Exactly. Only thing they hear is like, oh, another Muslim terror, a Muslim bombing, or I mean, anything negative, they'll push that to the max.
Yes.
But nothing will they play positive about Islam.
Yeah. Great point. Yeah, great point. But as an Arabic teacher, though, your students were non-Muslims, right?
Most of them, but I had
some Muslim students.
I had the principal or the manager of the Muslim Student Association. His name is Alex. He's a convert too.
Oh, mashallah, great.
And they had too many activities to do this. And actually, one of the main activity, one event that happened to us, one incident. is we had kind of a magazine for the school, and one day a writer wrote that the MSA is preparing for tomorrow's terrorists or something like this. And that actually was a good thing for us, because sometimes I believe, thinking positively, that some attacks could benefit us. Okay.
How?
How?
Good question.
If they always hear that Muslims are terrorists, some people will start reading about Islam. Okay. And actually, I heard the story about two friends who converted to Islam only because of the President Bush's speech on 9/11.
Right.
They said that we understood every single word in the speech, and except for the word Islam. We never heard it before. So they started searching about this, and they found that this is the right way they should go.
Wow.
You know, that was, subhanAllah, because of 9/11.
Right.
And then again, back to the story of the magazine, the headline was saying like the MSA is preparing tomorrow's terrorists or something like this, and the FBI have they read this, and they contacted the MSA president, and he invited me to the meeting as I'm an Arab representative and the teacher of Arabic. And they were saying, okay, look, this person, the writer, we have traced him back, and we have found that he wrote too many articles that are offensive to the Arabs and Muslims. So now we know that who is sick. We know that this man is ignorant, and it's a very obvious. And one of the Tallahassee Police Department, she told me, I recently started reading about Islam, and I know that Islam is not like this at all.
MashaAllah.
And she's not Muslim.
Right.
And he's not like this at all. And he is the mistaken. He is the ignorant. He needs to read more, and he needs to know more. And they gave us their business cards and asked us if we face any problems or anything to just contact them. And actually, I had in my class, I had two students who were teaching Islam. One of them was teaching Islamic beliefs, I think, and Islamic ethics, something like this. And they are not Muslims. They are teaching Islam.
How?
They are majoring in religion, and Islam is one of the classes they are taking.
But teaching Arabic to non-Muslims, it opens the door for da'wah, right?
Yes, it is.
So when they ask you, what does this word mean, what does that word mean, it gives you an opportunity to give da'wah, yeah?
Especially because of these words like mashallah, alhamdulillah.
Right.
And that was my supervisor. She was non-Muslim, but she's Arab. And she was saying to them, we too say this. We too say inshallah. We too say alhamdulillah, like non-Muslims. It's a cultural thing. We always thank Allah for everything. We always say inshallah because it's under His willing.
Right. So when you take like the verb hamada, ha mim dal, like you told me in the car here, then maybe this will spark an interest, and then you tell them the doer of the action is
Hamid.
And then the object?
The receiver of the action is Mahmoud,
it's
my name.
So this is a door for da'wah.
Yes, actually it really was.
Yeah, that's good.
And I had too many questions about this, about like, is tattoo, like, are tattoos haram or are not permissible in Islam?
Right.
And all of these questions.
Yeah. Okay. Are the two what?
Not permissible in Islam or haram.
Okay,
yes.
right. So
yes.
It opens up a lot of questions, for you. Okay. Well, you guys, we're going to take a short break, and we're going to come back. And you guys in the studio audience, don't go anywhere, because you can't go anywhere. And I'm going to be asking you a lot of questions, especially Brother Ahmed Ali, inshallah. If you can get that nasheed out of you, inshallah, it would be great. You guys stay tuned for more Let's Talk.
Perfect my life, and I praise. Subhanallah wa bihamdihi, subhanallah, how perfect you are, Allah, subhanahu wa ta'ala.
There is a very interesting hadith that talks about the verses of Aisha radiallahu anha. She says, I know myself I'm a sinner, but I'm afraid or I fear for my daughters. Please talk to them. Sister Khadija from Nigeria. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
I wonder, who loved the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam most? You have to repeat them all, because we discussed the difference of opinions. As the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, وَأَزْوَاجُهُ أُمَّهَاتُهُمْ. Their mothers, the mothers of the believers. Two main components: religious commitment and al-amana. In brief, represents the whole moral system, akhlaq, manners.
اللهم انصر دينك وكتابك وسنة نبيك وعبادك الموحدين.
يا وجيهاتي.
Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam tell us, be generous.
وحليف العلم.
To be clever, to be honest. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam tell us to be brave. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam be cheerful, to be fair. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam told us to have honor, to be good. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam tell us to be good.
اللهم انصر دينك وكتابك وسنة نبيك وعبادك الموحدين.
Subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah, I'm calling your name.
Welcome back to Let's Talk. We're talking about being MIA, not in Miami. And we're not talking about being missing in action. Rather, we're
Muslim
talking...
in black.
I'm in black. That's good. MIB, that was a very popular film many years ago before I was Muslim. Yeah. So we could say Muslim in black. And that's a whole different experience, subhanAllah. But brother, you know, I think it's a mixture. You know, you do have positive and negative experiences, you know, being Muslim in America. Would you say the positive outweighs the negative, or the negative the positive, or how would you balance that?
No, I don't know. It's hard really to say. Both of them were unique experiences, but I mean, I'd trade the negative for a box of bubble gum.
Yeah. Which means you have to be positive. You can't.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I wouldn't really. I wouldn't recommend anyone to run to anything like that. You know, because it's definitely coming. You know.
Right.
And especially with this thing that happened in
Boston,
they're actually trying to team it with Muslims.
Yeah.
And if they're able to do that, it's going to be a hard world for Muslims.
Yeah, for sure. So it could be even worse. Like you said, about law of attraction, being positive, thinking positive. Can you talk about that?
For example, whenever let's take again the example of the colleague I had. When she did this to me, if I were thinking like in a negative way, I would just be aggressive to her and do all of this. But I was being positive, like thinking at the other side, like from the other perspective. Like I now it's a clear invitation for me to call for Islam or to behave in front of her and others. So that was the result of the positive thinking.
Yeah, okay.
So you can take all of the actions. The action again of 9/11 was thinking positively. People heard more about Islam.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, even if it's in a bad way, educated people will search for this.
Yeah, okay. Good point.
But honestly, like in America, this before 9/11, it was a whole nother world for Muslims. I wasn't Muslim. But from what I understand, people were accepting Muslims, and this is major in America. If they were accepting Muslims and they were accepting Islam, I believe this was like the key reason why they had to do something like this to stop that.
Stop the progress of Muslims in America.
Yes, they don't want Muslims to progress in America.
Okay, now here's the question for you. What do you think? when do you think the Muslims were more common in America? Before 9/11 or after?
Well, there's more Muslims now because of immigration, and there's more Muslims now.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. But my point is, like, the Muslims that I know, and they told me they told me about life before 9/11, work, like, no problem. You know, like when you go to your job, and I mean, you know, you're a colleague. You know what I'm saying? You're not just a Muslim.
Right, yeah.
You know?
No, I got you.
These are hard words. So, you know, like they separate, they break you off and they put you over here.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, you're a man just like anyone trying to support your family. I'm a man. I mean,
right, you're a human being.
You know?
Because the thing is, though, at the end of the day, I do have to say, look, America's a melting pot society, but at the end of the day, you feel like it's kind of a facade, and they have their own agenda. Anyways, but I want to tell you guys this. CNN, I remember I was living in San Francisco working at T-Mobile, and CNN did a program. It was a 1-hour documentary about Muslims. You know what it was called? The Unwanted Neighbors, the Muslims Next Door.
Yes.
Oh, Allah. So I watched this program. I watched it, you know, and it was an Egyptian guy, an American woman, and they're talking about their life in Tennessee. Whoa. And they had to burn down the mosque. It was like a negative thing, but they're trying to make something positive out of it. They're trying to think positive. You know what I mean? Like you're saying. And the imam was saying, look, they burned down the masjid, but we're trying to have community dialogue and this sort of thing. But I just remember, you know, at one point these two women, young girls, walked into a bakery. And they were like, they did not wear hijab, so there's no way to identify them as Muslims. And somehow, and it was recorded, it was like a joke, you know, or it was a hidden camera. Yes. So the guy said to them, no, I won't serve you, go out. But like I said, you have to have thick skin. You can't have your feelings hurt when people insult you. But I think this is, you know, this is...
Was it true?
It was a real story.
Wow.
You know, it was in Tennessee, and you know, in the South there. But like you said, brother, think positive, and not everything is negative.
And do you know that now in Britain, the most famous name now is Muhammad. It's the number 1 on the list.
Yeah, subhanAllah.
It's the most common name there.
Yeah, from new babies. Yeah, I heard that as well, mashallah. Yeah.
It's an official survey, you know.
But I think Britain is many years ahead of America with regard to Muslims because they have a lot. Because they're ahead of us in everything, I think.
Yeah.
And they have a lot more Muslims there. They've had a lot more contact with Muslims.
They're more open.
They're more open. I think they have more freedom there. Yeah. I think it's different than. I think
I have seen like niqab, you know, the face veil. In London, we had like 5 women with us on the bus, having these black gowns and the face veil with no oppression or anything.
My friend moved from Germany to England. I said, why? He has 7 children and his wife, and he said, you know, I felt safer really in the UK. There's many Muslims there. There's many Islamic centers. I felt more integrated into society. I felt more normal.
Wow.
Yeah, in the UK. I think in the United States we're well behind this, though.
Yeah.
You know.
I would like to say something. There is an ayah that says, يريدون أن يطفئوا نور الله بأفواههم ويأبى الله إلا أن يتم نوره. They are willing to kind of turn off the light of Allah, which is the Islamic teachings, and Allah refuses but to continue these teachings.
Yeah, of course.
The idea is they would like to distort the image of Islam by claiming the 9/11 accident, you know, to Muslims.
Yes, but no evidence.
The opposite happens.
Yes, subhanAllah.
Islam becomes more popular.
Yeah. I mean, the opposite happened, but I mean, still.
Makes it difficult on the Muslims.
It does make it difficult.
Very.
But at least they are recognized.
I'll tell you, like me myself, at this time, I was not Muslim. Yes. I had never seen a Muslim. I had never heard. I hadn't heard of Islam, but I had a beard. I was like a Rasta, you know.
Yeah.
But I mean, I didn't get it from Rasta. I got it from the Bible, because in the Bible they say that you're not supposed to cut your hair, you're not supposed to cut your nails. You know, just like how you're on the state of Ihram.
Yes.
It's the exact same thing.
Yeah.
But like it's all the time there.
Right.
This was like during the time of Musa alayhi salam.
Yeah.
So when they walked, you know, like Allah was like with them, you know.
Right.
So this is they were in the state of Ihram basically all the time. So I didn't cut my hair, I didn't cut my nails, so I had a beard. I had a beard longer than this.
Okay.
And after the 9/11 thing, I was getting death threats.
No way.
I didn't know what a Muslim was. You know,
because you looked Muslim. To
just because I had a beard, and you know, I had dreads, and I wore a kufi also. So I bet it was a big one for my dreads, you know.
Yeah.
So I mean, they were like, yeah, we're gonna get you. Yeah, we're gonna get. I mean, get me for what? You know, I mean, I'm with you guys. You know what I mean? But I couldn't be with them because I mean, I look different. You know?
Yeah, yeah. Because in Yuba City, where I'm from, I'll never forget this. There was a Sikh. You know what a Sikh is, Ahmed? No. It's a religion from India, and they wear like a strange kind of turban.
Yeah.
Did you see them before? They call it
I think they wear the red.
I'm not sure, but perhaps.
Oh.
So this man was a truck driver in Yuba City, which is a redneck town outside of the Bay Area. Someone killed him,
Ooh.
and they thought he was Muslim after 9/11. So they killed him, and then guess what happened? The Sikhs did. They made a big campaign, and they said, "We're not Muslims." That's how like bad it got. They're like, "No, we're not Muslims." And if you remember, a couple years ago, a crazy man went into a Sikh temple and killed a bunch of people because he did think they were Muslims.
Wow.
But of course, like you said, you know, there's negative and positive. We have to try to focus on the positive. And hope the people that commit these acts of violence are held accountable. But relating to the Boston massacre thing, or the Boston bombing, okay?
Yes, yes.
This is what I can't help noticing. I want your comments and your comments on this, okay? First of all, there are two white men. So this was with Russian names. So this is like confusing to them, right? So then when he's being interviewed, for them he doesn't look Muslim, he doesn't look Arab, he doesn't have a beard, he's not Muslim. So then he's doing an interview, and then one lady says out of the blue, "Are you Muslim? Are you Muslim?" He says, "Yes." And then from that point on, it was terrorism. You know, number one.
He said yes
because they were from Chechnya or something. Oh. Okay. Number one. Number two. This is an interesting point about the whole Boston bombing thing. Look, it's very wrong what they did, and everybody knows it's wrong. We say it 100 times. It's wrong to hurt people, right? Yes. But on the guy's Facebook, he had pictures like with short shorts, smoking weed, and he was a boxer. So this is he's.
He's not
I mean, he was born Muslim, but what inspired him to do this, obviously, was just like whatever he was going through in his life. It wasn't attached to his religion. So, I mean, do you feel that's unfair, brother, that they attached it to Islam immediately, although this man was just like a regular American teenager or something?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I mean, anything. It's a full press attack against against the Muslims, you know. They want to do anything or anything that could make the Muslims look bad, they'll do.
Yeah, subhanAllah.
Yeah.
And this is the media force. But brother, what about this issue about the guy clearly was acting, from what we know, like acting on some other ideology, but then they did attach it to Muslims, you have to admit. The
Actually, it's the same thing that you said about the man in Sweden who killed 70 persons, I think. And once they discovered that he's not Muslim, they called it act of violence. But if he was proven to be Muslim, or they would say a terrorist attack.
Yeah, subhanAllah.
You know, it's the same event, but again, it's how they show it.
But do you think that will ever change? Because it's sad. I mean, do you think it will change?
This will change in the day when we take the responsibility of the change. I had to take the responsibility of a change when I was teaching kids in America, when I was teaching adults in America, when I was acting as how a Muslim should act, when I was representing the Arab culture and the Islamic teachings. That was I was doing my best, and I think that was the first step to do this change.
Yeah, mashallah.
If everyone does this, I think that would be a great effort.
Yeah, I agree with you more.
Change.
I agree with you so much. And also back to the Norway or Sweden thing, the guy did it on account of his beliefs. So he killed all these European kids because he says they were liberals and they're accepting Muslim immigrants, and he made the Heil Hitler sign in the courtroom.
Oh.
So even though he was trying to send a message to the media that I'm a neo-Nazi and this is my beliefs, he was trying to do that. The media like just put it to the side and didn't even talk about it. And take care, you guys. The same week when the Boston thing happened, this guy from, I think from the South also, a white guy, he put some poison in an envelope and he addressed it to Barack Obama. You remember that? And it was in the news for like one day. I mean, that's news. That's news, but it wasn't.
It's about Obama, you know.
You know, yeah, right.
Wait a minute. He
like
said poison. Poison what? Just poison itself?
He put poison in an envelope and he sent it to him, and then they caught the guy.
I tell you something. Even if it's a joke, it needs to take attention in the news. You know,
without a doubt.
He's the president.
Right, but they didn't give it attention because they were so focused on the Chechens and the Islamic fundamentalists and all this stuff. You know, so that's why we're at Huda TV, and that's why Brother Ahmed Ali is working hard on programs like Straight Path, Living Hearts, and Viewers Pulse to give American viewers the right image about Islam. Is that how you feel about your position here at Huda TV? You're trying to fight back in the media for Islam?
Yeah, I agree with you, Malik. We are trying and we are doing all of our best to address the West about the right image of Islam. we are not in a defensive way, but we're trying to deal with them as a humans, not
Right.
yeah. We are brothers in humanity.
Right.
We're not, you know,
Yeah,
we are not enemies. We are not enemies at all.
Right. But thank you, brother. But you feel like America, Islam has not taken, it's far from taking its right in America. If you go to work and you're Jewish, nobody cares. If you go to work and you're Christian, nobody cares. But if you go to work and you're Muslim, even if people are nice to you, it's still kind of like this weird kind of, it's
sensitivity.
Yeah, I don't like that. You don't have to be. Don't be sensitive. I don't like that sensitivity. It means that we don't have mutual respect. It means like you're trying to be. Don't be extra nice to me on account of this.
If you go to work and you're Jewish, you get a warning before the bomb drops.
If you're Muslim,
they put you in the heart of the blast.
Yeah, I mean that's.
Or either that, or they'll blame you for the blast.
Yeah, subhanallah. You know, actually, there was a time in my life I was in my late 20s. And I was looking for work. I already finished college, and I had already become Muslim, and there was no halal meat at all in my little town. So I thought, there's a new restaurant opened up. I said, I should be, and you advertise for butcher. You need a butcher. So I said, I should just work for a couple months over there so I can learn how to slaughter my own meat.
Yeah.
So the guy was actually an Arabic guy from Jordan. He did the interview with me. He really liked me. I told him I don't have any experience, but please give me this chance, He said, and he called me back. He said, come down here. He said, you know what, the job is yours. I like you. I know you don't have any experience, but I think you have enthusiasm. Then I took the job. Then the next day I realized something. They're selling pork meat also.
What?
So it's a restaurant in America. Of course they sell. Yeah, right. It's normal. So I went back. I said, I'm really, really, really sorry. He said, what? The guy already went. He did me a favor. He went out of his way for me. How am I going to tell him I can't deal with this pork meat now? And he's going to think bad of Muslims maybe. And he's, you know what I mean?
Yes.
I said, really, brother, I'm Muslim, and I don't cut or touch or pork blood and this sort of thing. At all.
Yeah.
I can't. I don't know how I would be able to do that.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, he appreciated my honesty and he appreciated my conviction, because I could have just said, I can sell it, or I can take some scholars say maybe it's okay to sell it, but to slaughter it and to, I couldn't do that. So he respected my conviction. So have you felt like that too in America? Maybe sometimes people think Muslims are too strict, but when they come to know you, they appreciate your conviction to stick to your deen.
Well, no, not where I was from, because they didn't know anything about Islam.
Right, in the first place.
I remember right before I moved from where I'm from to another city. The lady that I was holding an apartment from, she asked me. She said, "What's your religion?" And I had only been Muslim maybe for a month or so.
You were renting an apartment from her?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
so the landlord, okay.
Yeah. So she was like, what's your religion? I said, I'm Muslim. Because I've always been the type of person, like, whatever I'm about, I'm about it.
Yeah.
So I told her I was Muslim. She didn't know what a Muslim was at that time. She didn't. So, but she went home and she did some research, or she asked someone about it, or something like that. 2 days later, the guy, I had just signed a new contract for the apartment. Yeah. 2 days later, the guy was knocking on my door. She wants you out.
No way.
Yes, sir.
Dude, that's crazy.
She wanted me out. But it was
that's so sad, though.
Yeah.
But
but it was beautiful. This was from Allah. From Allah. I moved from this, no Islam city. I'm saying, no Islam at all, straight to this city where they were. I moved into a place where they were trying to make Islam. Yeah. Cool. So the place where I stayed, it was like 75% Muslim.
Oh, that's what you talk about, thinking positive, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So you had all the reason to be irritated.
Yeah.
Because she has oppressed you now, but then you say, okay, something positive came of that, and you got to move to a Muslim community.
Exactly. It was beautiful. That's exactly what I needed for being a brand new Muslim.
Yeah. Actually, when people do that stuff, when I have a bad experience with somebody on account of being Muslim in the States, I always give them the benefit of the doubt, because look, people come they've been influenced from the media, from their environment, from their surroundings. Yeah. So sometimes you have to give them the benefit of the doubt and to be patient with them. So
that's true. True.
So thank you for sharing that story. You guys, we have to end the program. I certainly appreciate your time. Maybe we can do MIA part 2, inshallah. If you're available, inshallah.
Inshallah.
Thank you for your time. I appreciate it. Thank you guys in the studio audience, thank you. Brother, thank you for the beautiful nasheed. Inshallah, next time we'll have another one. Brother Uthman, thank you for your time. You guys, thank you for your time. And you over there, you didn't give me the nasheed. Next episode, inshallah. All right, you guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode of MIA, that's Muslim in America. So until next time, we leave you in the care of Allah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Perfect my Allah is and I praise Him. Subhanallah wa bihamdihi. Subhanallah. How perfect you are, Allah. Subhanahu wa ta'ala. Subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah, Allah, I'm calling your name, Allah, I call you, I need you, Allahu Akbar, Allah, your mercy is great.